Welcome back, guys. I'm Theo Joe, and we got today's tech news, and what I'm going to do is go through the 4 main stories, and then we can rapid fire through the rest of the smaller stories that are still pretty interesting. So let's get started. First up, very cool, Microsoft is going to be launching a new service called Xbox Game Pass that's basically going to be like a Netflix for video games on Xbox. And the idea is you pay a monthly service fee, and it's going to be about $10 a month apparently, starting in the spring. And then you can download any of the games in the service. They said there's going to be over 100 of them, AAA games. And then they download onto your hard drive the full game, no demo or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about streaming it like other services have. The whole game gets downloaded. They didn't name too many specific games, but they did say Halo 5, Payday 2, some other games, and they said that they will be changing every month. So they'll cycle in some games and cycle out other games month to month, so you're going to have a different selection each month. But if you do want to own a game permanently, people who have the service can get a 20% discount if you decide to buy the game. And the other thing to note is they said it would be available for Xbox One and Windows 10 devices. So this could even potentially be for Windows games as well. We know that if you buy a game on Xbox with the whole sharing thing, you can also play it on computer, but it's not going to be available for Xbox 360. So they haven't really made it clear how the cross-platform is going to work with Windows or Xbox One, but they did mention Windows 10 specifically, so I guess it would be for both. Next up, story number 2, we got some big-time rumors that are pretty credible for the next iPhone, and that is first that it's going to have a curved OLED screen, pretty cool, and more unexpectedly, that Apple is going to ditch the Lightning jack and replace it with a USB-C jack. USB-C is obviously much more universal these days. A bunch of Android phones use it now. Apple even put a bunch of ports on their latest MacBook Pros. But I am curious why they're going to be ditching their own proprietary plug when it works fine. They probably get a bunch of royalties from it. And I'd be surprised if they would want to piss people off of having to now get yet another connector. However, I would think that if they do this, there would be a lot less outrage from switching to USB-C because it is going to be much more universal, much more open, so that if people do start buying USB-C devices, they can use it on a lot more stuff than just their iPhone. So I could see this working out pretty well. I think it's actually a good move. Of course, we're not totally sure about all this, and this was reported by the Wall Street Journal, which, as we know, has shown themselves to be less than reliable these days. But at least the OLED rumor has agreed with previous rumors that Apple has been buying up huge numbers of OLED panels that they would expectedly be using in the new iPhones. And it's possible that they're even going to have multiple different iPhone versions in addition to just the 7 and the 7S. And specifically, they might be making an iPhone X, which would be a 10-year anniversary version, which is the 10-year anniversary, of course, since they launched the first iPhone. All right, next up, number 3, there is a new Raspberry Pi computer that was announced called the Raspberry Pi Zero W that, get this, costs just $10. And the W stands for wireless because this is actually an upgraded version of the Raspberry Pi Zero, which, believe it or not, only costs $5. Now, obviously, as you can imagine, this is not for everyday usage. You can't install Windows 10 on it or anything like that. It's only got a 1 gigahertz processor, single core, 512 megabytes of RAM, but it does have Bluetooth 4.0 and wireless and Wi-Fi. And it's probably best suited for special purposes. Some people have used it to create a do-it-yourself security camera. Other people have used it to create a retro game emulator like the NES and that sort of thing. Or, of course, you could go with the $35 regular Raspberry Pi 3, which is quite a bit more powerful, although not anywhere close to a regular desktop, obviously. But with that, you could do anything from running a VPN to a web server or even a media server. So if you're really into do-it-yourself computer projects or something like that, or you want to get into fun home automation stuff, then this could be an option, or any of the other Raspberry Pis. Next up, number 4, Amazon Echo, the talking cylinder that has Amazon's AI within it, is apparently going to be able to soon identify people by their voices. So this solves an issue that a lot of people have been complaining about. If you have an Amazon Echo in your home, then it's tied to one account, but if you have many users, that could pose some problems if they have different settings, or maybe they don't want their kids being able to order things through Amazon, or they only want one person being able to use it, that sort of thing. But they announced that they're working on something called Voice ID, which would be able to identify multiple people through a voice fingerprint and identify who these people are, so they could maybe set the primary account holder to have more permissions than guests or other family members with sub-accounts. And if they were to do this, it would be the only assistant that would be capable at the moment of distinguishing between different voices out of Siri, Amazon Alexa, and Google Assistant. So if they were to do this, that'd be pretty awesome, but I'm sure that all the other assistants are working on the same type of technology as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if the other ones were to come out with the same feature even this year. Alright, so those are what I thought were just the biggest stories of the day, but why don't we now go rapid fire through some other ones that you might think are cool as well. First up, the upcoming Windows 10 Creator Update is going to have an optional feature that will allow people to disable the installation of any apps on the computer besides those that are coming from the official Microsoft App Store. So this could be good if you're running a computer for people who aren't very technically inclined and you don't want them risking installing a virus or something like your kids. Also, it turns out that LG is creating their own virtual reality headset that would work with Steam VR. And as you know, Steam VR tech uses a special laser tracking system, and it was created by Valve to be royalty-free. So any manufacturer that wants to create a virtual reality headset using that technology doesn't have to pay anything extra. So I think this is going to be cool. It's just the first third-party virtual reality headset besides the HTC Vive, and I think it'll be exciting to see what other ones come out in the future. Next, Kingston has announced the largest flash drive in the world. The USB thumb drive holds a whopping 2 terabytes. It's called the Data Traveler Ultimate GT, say that 10 times fast, and costs $1,600. Very expensive. I think I'm gonna wait a couple years and be able to get it for $10 out of the checkout line bargain bin. Finally, for those of you across the pond, Google Home is gonna be launching in the UK in just a few months, possibly in June. So those of you who have been waiting for the smart speaker won't have to wait much longer. So that's it for the news today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to keep watching, I'll put a link to the most recent video right here. You can click on that even if you're on a phone. And if you want to subscribe, again, I make new videos every single day now. I'm trying that out. Also consider clicking the bell next to the subscribe button for notifications. Let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.